Okay, we are good to go. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of our summer workshop series. This afternoon, we've got Nikki Benavides from Zachary Corporation, who's going to be talking to us about LinkedIn and how to use it in your job search and how to build an effective profile. So as always, we'll have time for questions, so make sure you're making note of anything you want to know more about. Nikki, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to come and share your knowledge with us. I appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. So thanks for having me again, Ruben. I'd like to introduce myself. Like Ruben said, my name is Nikki Benavides. I'm a senior recruiter at Zachary Construction Corporation. I've been with Zachary almost 4 years now, but before I continue, I want to clarify something about our company since most of you are engineers. On the first series I sat in on, there was like a Brian from chemical engineering, there was Justin in electrical engineering, Karen environmental science. So I'm mentioning this because there are two different Zachary companies. So the Zachary that I work for is Zachary Construction. On LinkedIn, we have, and other areas online, we have a black and white logo and focus primarily on heavy civil, highway, bridge, and road projects. And there's another separate company called Zachary Group, which is also headquartered in San Antonio. They're a larger company focusing on engineering and construction, but in the energy, chemical, power, manufacturing, and industrial sectors. So both companies come from the same founding Zachary family. We're in our third generation of owners, and the two brothers did decide to reorganize and take their special interest and form two separate companies in 2008. So Zachary Group, the other company, has a green logo. And I just want to point this out. If you see either company at a college job fair, you will know which one you'd like to speak with since there are so many different types of engineers in this group. Again, I work for Zachary Construction with the black and white logo, and we focus on heavy highway. Zachary Group is industrial and has the green logo. So now that I've gotten that description out of the way, I've been a senior recruiter here for almost 4 years. I want to start off by asking, how many of you already have a LinkedIn profile? Can you maybe just type in yes or no in the comments right now? And I'm going to take just a minute and look at your responses. Ruben, I'm not sure that I can see those, but if you kind of maybe just let me know how many of those are there.
So far we've got a lot of yeses coming in. We've got 6 yeses so far.
Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. So if you already have a LinkedIn profile, I thought that might be the case. Hang tight. We're going to go over very specific things to make sure you have in your profile. What I'm going to give you I'm also going to give you a behind the scenes of how and what a recruiter sees when I do a search. So there's still going to be a lot of information for you guys if you already have a profile. So I've been sitting in on some of your previous workshop series, and you all have gotten some wonderful information. There's been a lot of talk on what you need to do when finding jobs, like creating resumes, interview questions, and now making a LinkedIn profile. The fun part for me is, yes, I'm also going to tell you there's a little bit more work for you, but when you do need to create a LinkedIn profile, but I'm also here to tell you that once you do this, recruiters are going to do some of the work for you. Yay! And we're going to take a bit of the load off of you finding, by allowing us to find you and asking if you're interested in jobs pertaining to your experience. So it's fun to kind of turn the table a bit for the students, breathe a sigh of relief, because I'm here to show you how to get companies to seek you. Like I said, it might take a few hours to create your profile, but this in turn is going to have recruiters working on behalf for you for months or years. So of course, your LinkedIn profile must be built correctly for this to occur. So this will be the main focus of the presentation today. One part of my position for Zachary is leading our LinkedIn recruiter seat. I'm not only responsible for the professional recruiting in my area, which is Central and South Texas, I'm also tasked with going on LinkedIn and sourcing prospective candidates for all the higher level positions within our company. So I use LinkedIn to find passive candidates who may be content with their job, but they also may be open to hearing opportunities for companies. Without LinkedIn, I would never get a chance to message these people. They are not people applying to our positions, but I do know they have the experience we're looking for because their LinkedIn profile is detailed. So what's great about today's technology is how easy it is to apply. But on the flip side of that, we do wade through many applicants, but I also get to seek out people who we are looking for on LinkedIn. So other things I'll be discussing today are, how do I find those people? And what do you need to do to get seen by a recruiter? How do you make your LinkedIn profile better? Which I'm glad I included because a lot of you already have one. So First things first, you might be wondering why LinkedIn, why we use LinkedIn as a company, because you keep hearing how many hundred applications a single job gets. I could do a whole presentation on why companies use LinkedIn, but I'm going to quickly go over a few points to help you understand why companies use it, and so you can understand why you need to make a profile if you haven't already done so. Many people come in our ATS system that are not qualified, so we need to go out and find people who are. We might have a niche position, such as an area scheduler. This is a position that we think is going to be hard to fill. So if there's more scheduler positions than schedulers that are looking for jobs, are they really going to be combing through jobs, or do we need to go out and find them? Many project managers don't have the time to go online and seek out opportunities. It's another high-level position I might recruit for as a project manager, but they may read an email I send to them in regards to an opening for our company that our company has. So that's a huge benefit for companies. Not only do we have to not wait for people to apply that are qualified, we also know these candidates have the experience we want versus waiting through 100 people who applied to one of our engineer positions that don't have the experience we're looking for. LinkedIn Recruiter also allows us to find the right candidates faster. The HR and recruiting team's goal is to get candidates fast. We can track our metrics on this. As a company, obviously, we don't want our positions to be open for a year, so we have certain timelines we like to fill our positions. LinkedIn Recruiter helps us do this by seeking candidates we know are qualified. Also, talent pipeline management. I can contact candidates through InMail. I can build and track and manage candidates for future positions and write notes to other recruiters. So if you have the experience we're looking for on highway projects, but you're an engineer and we're currently only seeking a superintendent, I can build a future superintendent project for the next time we're looking for one. I can build one for engineer. If you come across in a different project, I can build it for an engineer as well. So when I do have that opening come up, I can already start messaging people that I'm looking for. On LinkedIn, we also are able to showcase our company culture, such as volunteer work, what projects we're working on, and of course, our open positions. And I'll give you some examples of how we do this in a few minutes. And one reason both companies and candidates use LinkedIn is to build your audience. When people share jobs or comment on posts, every time you do any of this, your audience is going to be getting larger. Okay, so here is Zachary Construction's LinkedIn page. I want to share with you some of what we showcase so you can get an understanding of why it is beneficial to get on LinkedIn and follow company pages. So here's some things we see. First of all, we see our number of followers. We currently have 53,125 followers. When I started about 3.5 years ago, we had 15,000 followers. So we are really starting to build our audience, and that's helping us a lot with what we need to do.
Are you sharing your screen?
I'm sorry?
Are you sharing your screen? We can't see anything.
Oh, you can't? Okay, just one moment. Let me know what's going on. Sorry about that. I don't know if anyone can help me. I just see that someone's trying to enter the room on Zoom.
I already let them in. If you go down to the share screen, should be in the middle.
I don't see, the only thing I see on Zoom is you.
And the
oh, I see it. Okay, thank you. I got it. Yeah, I just got. Let me try again. Thanks for letting me know, guys. Sorry about that. Do you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. So did you miss the first slide?
I think we missed just the first one.
Oh shoot. Okay, it was just bullet points. It wasn't anything exciting. So okay, let me get this back up. I'm sorry about that. Thanks for letting me know. So like I said, here's the Zachary Construction's LinkedIn page. This is the number one thing that we see up at the top is we have 53,125 followers. You see new followers over to the left. You can see if a college fair students we just spoke to have an interest in us and they're following us, and you're going to get an understanding of how important it is for following companies a little bit later in the presentation. So we can see our search appearances, how many unique visitors we have, and our post impressions, and which tells us which content our followers are engaging with, with, so that's something that's important to us. Another thing I'd like to point out is I can also invite my personal connections to the Zachary page on the right. So when you make your own account, LinkedIn is going to do this for you personally as well. It's going to suggest connections to you based on your college, where you are from, and what industry you're in. And so now let's take a look at some of the things that we post and why. And you see that next slide, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Perfect. All right, so one thing that I post for Zachary every Monday morning is the weekly job posting. I might tell of specific new positions, or it might be more general, and I include a link to find our current openings. You can also follow companies, so their posts are going to show up in your newsfeed to remind you to go look at their jobs. Find the company at the college fairs that you're interested in, follow them on LinkedIn. Many are going to post open positions, including their internships. On our weekly job opening posts, I also tell a little bit about our benefits, what hashtags we use, so you could follow some of those on companies you're interested in. And the more you know about a company going into the college job fair or interview, the more you can discuss specific things about the company that other students or candidates might not know. So I know you keep hearing this advice. There's definitely a reason it keeps getting brought up by several different people, is to know the companies that you are going to go talk to. All right, so this is a position, this is an example of a new position we just posted. Many companies are going to feature their new job opportunities and internships on LinkedIn. What you learn from some of the other presenters is timing can be very important as far as knowing what positions are opening. Often companies will post a position for a week or two, and then they put it on hold because they receive so many candidates. Following a company can give you an advantage of seeing the new positions early. And when you follow a company like Zachary, you're going to see their postings in your LinkedIn newsfeed, and this can remind you to go into a company page or the career page to view their openings or the most recent news about the company. So if you follow a company and like or comment on anything, someone's watching the company notifications on who is interacting. So maybe this person, like we have 3 people at our company who kind of do this, takes a peek at your profile since they saw that you commented. Recruiters are most likely going to be some of those people at the companies monitoring the interaction. So just little things that you can do is how you're going to get noticed. Another thing I highlight on our LinkedIn page is our projects. This is what people want to see and what we get the most views on. This picture is from one of our field engineers on our Houston Ship Channel Bridge project. And we love that our employees out in the field send pictures like this into us, knowing that we're going to feature them on LinkedIn. I like to post the projects to get candidates excited about the size and the scope of what the project entails. It gives us a chance to feature and cheer on our employees. Other candidates see this and they kind of realize we have more of a family feel. We're kind of the mid-size of a company that we know everyone's name, but we're also large enough to kind of have major projects going on as well. So I don't know if you know this or not, but most people on LinkedIn already have a job, but they go on LinkedIn to kind of watch company pages and watch for a shared vision or a clear mission across the organization to see where they want to look for a new opportunity. So LinkedIn is the only job site that allows a company to showcase our brand, and companies spend a lot of time building content for this. So we try to feature safety trainings, development trainings, and other things to show we're vested in our employees and what to promote within. So follow company pages and see which companies align with what you're looking for and seeking in your career, or look for things that you can discuss during a college fair or interview. We have students who speak to us at job fairs that don't know what type of projects we work on. And if you want to come speak to us about projects that we are currently doing, you have a big advantage of getting our attention. I know you've heard the same sentiment before, again, from a few other presenters. It's very important to know about the company you're speaking with, either at the college fair or on an interview. It's going to give you an advantage. It's going to set you apart because we know that you know what we're exactly doing, that's what you're interested in. Okay, so we also try to highlight our company's belief that even though what we do is important, what we give back to the community is more important. So I met a college student at A&M during a college fair, and as we were talking, she mentioned to me that she followed Zachary on LinkedIn and really enjoyed seeing our volunteering involvement in the community. And she asked me if she could go to these if she was to get an internship. She had the upper hand over other students because she just showed me she was a go-getter. She had been on our company page, learning about us, and she was interested in joining based on something specific that she saw. She knew about us. So this is a surefire way to set yourself apart during the college fairs. And one reason I wanted to show you this, again, think about all you can learn from a company's page before ever having the chance of speaking to a recruiter at a college fair or during an interview. So not only use LinkedIn to try to find a job, but also use LinkedIn to find companies that you really align with what you want to do and what your beliefs are. Okay, so let's take a look at this post on our company LinkedIn profile. Another reason to join LinkedIn is to see if companies you're interested are promoting within. This is so important because this is going to show you if the company is investing in their employees. Are they providing training? Are they sitting down and discussing career paths with their employees? On this post, you can see Zachary just promoted one of our employees to a project manager. Adam joined our company in 2013 in the estimating department and was promoted internally to a project engineer, then a superintendent. He was promoted to assistant project manager and now a project manager. So this is what we call a success story. And I know in the summer workshop series, you had a job interview tips, and the presenters discussed how looking for a job is a mutual relationship. A company is seeking certain qualities they are looking for in the same way that you should be looking for qualities that you want in a company. So this is just something else that we try to showcase, and that's something that you want to look for. Do you see the companies that you're thinking about applying with? Do you see them promoting internally? Do you see them having trainings? Do you see them trying to build their employees? Okay, in a minute, we're going to go over how to set up a LinkedIn account, but since we discussed why companies use LinkedIn, let's first talk about why you should use it as well. And if you join late, you don't already have a LinkedIn account, first question is, how are we supposed to find you? So by setting up an account, like I previously mentioned, you're going to be investing time in the beginning, but then you're going to be letting the recruiters do some work for you because now we can find you and we will find you. So better believe that. There are all sorts of topics and blog posts about how to set up a LinkedIn account, and we're going to go over one in a moment. But first, wanted to just let you know that 87% of recruiters on LinkedIn use LinkedIn, which is more than all the social media networks combined. So let me say that again: 87% of recruiters use LinkedIn. I've used other platforms. I always go back to LinkedIn, and right now I strictly use LinkedIn to actively search candidates. Our company recently started using Handshake as well, which I know you've had mentioned in your previous workshops, but I'm going to strictly kind of discuss LinkedIn today. Also, 89% of talent says being contacted by a company's recruiter can make them accept a job faster. So think how more exciting it is if a recruiter reaches out to you and lets you know their interest in their job and tells you about their culture, their training, their development, versus just going on Monster and applying to another job. That's why this percentage is so high, and that's why companies continue to use LinkedIn. We know if we use it, that we have a great chance that someone's going to accept our job offer and it's going to accept it faster. So just another reason right there. How to set up a LinkedIn profile. Ruben and I were just talking a few minutes before we came on. Wanted to first just kind of say, you're going to go to linkedin.com and click set up an account, and it'll walk you through the steps on how to set up an account. It's pretty self-explanatory. You'll be putting in your name, your email address, your profile pic, a summary, and other things. It will walk you through how to do all this. Since it's basic, I'm going to kind of go through this quickly so we can do a more advanced part of setting up an account in order for recruiters to find you. But here's the course that you see first, that you find just by going to LinkedIn and searching LinkedIn, learning LinkedIn for students. Like I said, Ruben and I were talking, LinkedIn has a whole learning catalog where it's going to show you pretty much any question that you have. It's going to be in LinkedIn Learning. It's going to show you a video about it. It's going to show you how to do what your question is, and it's going to probably give you a little bit of research on it. It's a very valuable tool. It's this LinkedIn Learning. So you can just literally go to linkedin.com or just Google LinkedIn Learning and type in a question. You're kind of find whatever you're looking for. If you look on the screen on the right, the right side, it's gonna walk you through each specific step on how to set up your account. You're gonna add the profile picture. You're gonna customize your background image if you choose to do that. You can personalize your headline, add a summary, find the right keywords, and so on. Once you do this, the course will then walk you through how to strengthen your profile. So at the bottom, you see featured examples of your work, how to add skills and endorsements, give and get recommendations, and so on. So if you have any questions on how to set up a LinkedIn profile, or pretty much any question regarding LinkedIn, search it in LinkedIn Learning, okay? That's gonna be a very valuable tool for you. But one of the most important tips I can give a student is to search engineers at a company you're interested in. So maybe you search chemical engineer Kiewit and look through some profiles. Take a little bit of what you like from each profile and kind of customize it to build your own profile. For example, did you like the way engineers summarize their projects? Did you see keywords the engineer used to describe his daily activities? So research and learn from people on LinkedIn who are already in the position you want to be in. It's a very great way to get started. And before I go more into that, remember LinkedIn is a free resource. It does have the option to have a premium LinkedIn account for a fee. Personally, at this stage, you should be good with a free account. You do not need a premium account for recruiters to find you. And I would say 90 to 95% of the people I interact with on LinkedIn have a free account. I've never paid for one. So, I mean, you definitely can get one later on if you want to, but right now you should just be good with a free account. Another important tip I'd like to mention is research shows that having a picture makes your profile 14 times more likely to be viewed by others. So if you have a profile picture, I personally respond more to these connection requests because I feel like this makes the person, they're more active, they're more serious member of the LinkedIn community. Just to be trying to connect with recruiters, you already have people looking at you. So this is just from a personal perspective as far as connection requests. It doesn't affect if I reach out to you as a candidate or not. But if you're trying to get connection requests to other engineers as well, you're 14 times more likely if you have a profile picture to get your connections accepted. Well, now let's dive into why all the categories and keywords are so important to create and strengthen your profile. Okay, so this is the fun part for me. It's exciting to show this to college students because this is going to help you understand how important a detailed LinkedIn profile is, and not many job seekers know this information. It's going to give you a precise understanding from a recruiter's perspective, in turn letting you understand what you need to do to be noticed by a recruiter. So let's get started. All right, this is what I see when I'm doing a search. The first thing I see that is very important in the upper left is spotlights. This can be the single most important thing you can do for yourself to get recruiters to look at you more often. I can see who's more likely to respond. I'm gonna click these people first because I don't wanna waste my time either. And this tells me who's more likely to respond to one of my messages. So the big important question is, how do you get there? How do you become one of these people in my search that I'm gonna reach out to first? So when a recruiter sends you a message, you should respond. If you're busy, LinkedIn has these little buttons that you can push at the bottom, like that say no thanks or I'm not interested at this time. Click those buttons to keep yourself high in the recruiter's list. It doesn't matter if you decline our message, just as long as you answer. That's what's going to get you up here on the most likely to respond. However, I will say, if you do have time and you're not interested, let the recruiter know why. So let's say that you're interested, but you want to stay in San Antonio, for example. Let the recruiter know, and the recruiter, just one second, sorry. Something keeps popping up. Okay, so let the recruiter know, okay? This just happened a few months ago. I was searching for senior recruiters in both San Antonio and the Dallas area, and I sent someone a message. And she responded back, she was interested in other opportunities, but only for Houston openings. A few months later, an engineer position in Houston opened, and I reached back out to her, and we hired her for that area just recently. So had she not let me know why she was declining, I wouldn't have reached out to her again. And my last 4 hires that I just had in the last 2 weeks have been people that have reached back out to me to give me previous feedback. And so just keep that in mind when you're sending out messages. If you do have time to say, hey, I am open to opportunities, or willing to talk, but I prefer this area, or whatever the reason might be that you are responding that you aren't interested. If you let a recruiter know, a recruiter can go in and type those notes into your profile, and so that we can build it. Like if you want Houston, I can build a Houston project. These are the people interested in Houston. So if you have time, definitely let the recruiter know why, if you are saying that you're not interested at this time. Recruiters can also see who's open to work and if the candidates in the search have any company connections. So fun fact, I can only send bulk emails to candidates if I maintain a certain percentage of candidates who respond to my messages. So without that percentage, I have to send email candidates one by one. So you bet I'm gonna send messages first to candidates who are more likely to respond, who have their profile marked as open for work, and who has company connections, because these candidates are more likely to respond and will help me keep my percentages high enough to send bulk emails. All right, you want to also make sure that you list your skills. Like let's say we have an estimator position and we're looking for Bluebeam experience. It's a type of software that estimators use. I can search Bluebeam here. If you don't have that in your LinkedIn account, you may not show in my search, or you're going to be at the back of pages and pages of candidates. So every person who puts in Bluebeam as a skill just moved in front of you. Again, this is where it's pertinent to view engineers already in your field with companies that you're interested in. Look at what they're highlighting in their profiles. See if you have the same experience or skills. And if you do, make sure you list those, because if recruiters are searching by those skills, that's where you're going to start showing up more. I can also search candidates by companies. I use this feature all the time. I have a list of about 50 competitor companies where I know they're doing similar work on a similar scale. I can do a custom filter. I put in those 50 companies, click it, and I'm searching only those companies. So make sure you list all your companies, even if you just have an internship with them, make sure you're listing those companies to get more exposure. And sometimes at the bottom, you'll see that companies can search by schools. We have a few top schools that we think have an excellent engineering program, for example. So we can search those candidates that way as well. Some of this is pretty self-explanatory, but I want to make sure you understand why taking the time at the beginning to fill in all the necessary information is really going to pay off in the long run. Always keep things current. As soon as you have a new skill or you have a new company, a new title, update your resume and your LinkedIn profile and make sure that it shows that. And as you can see from Aiden's profile, he applied to one of our jobs. I have him one of my projects, and I have a note about him. So this is a way for me to create a future pipeline. If you think you're perfect for an internship, but you just didn't get it, don't get discouraged, because it could have simply been timing. And if you're a good candidate, there's a chance that you're on our radar or another recruiter's radar for future projects, and you just really never know what's going on behind the scenes. But this is another reason why, as a recruiter, I use LinkedIn. I can have all those notes in there. I can build a pipeline for future projects. So you never know if that's what a recruiter is thinking kind of behind the scenes. So if you ever do get rejected, keep a positive attitude with the company. Thank them for their time and let them know should another opportunity arise, you would like to be considered for future possibilities. So remember those 4 people I recently hired. The timing wasn't there the first time around. They were positive when I reached back out, and I let them know this, and we kept a connection for the future. So just kind of a reminder. Let's take a look at some more ways I search and find candidates. This is another whole page of an advanced search I can use that pretty much no other students are going to know about except you guys, of course. So I can search by company followers, which is why it's important to follow companies. Recruiters research LinkedIn. So make sure if you're following companies, this is where you're going to show up in my search, and I might search you and message you before I would other candidates who aren't following our company. I know that company followers are 80% more likely to respond than non-company followers. So again, there's so many details you can include on LinkedIn that's going to get you seen before hundreds or literally thousands of other engineering students by just knowing these little details. Another thing I can do is search by projects. So we knew that a large project with a competitor was ending, and I went and searched candidates who were on that project by just putting engineer and the project name in the search bar, and we were able to hire several candidates coming off that project. Again, only if those people had that in their profile summary would they have showed up. So a lot of people, you know, when they're doing interns, they don't think to include the name of the project on their summary. Make sure you do that because you never know how recruiters are searching. I can also search skills and years in a current company, all these things. So the more you match with what I'm searching, the better chance I'm going to find you. And again, this is where it's important, like I said, to keep things current. Maybe you did your LinkedIn profile a year ago and you had a year of engineering experience, but you're an estimator now and with another year's experience. If I'm looking for an estimator and you haven't updated that, obviously I'm not going to find you in my estimator search. So on the same note, we can search how many years you've been at your current position. So always keep things up to date. These are categories you're going to see when you set up your LinkedIn account. This is why taking the time to do it right, listing your locations, your company, your skills is so important. The more information you give, like I said, the more the recruiters are going to be able to find you. I may seek candidates by location. Another recruiter might be using the number of years of experience. Another company out in Colorado might have recruiters searching candidates by who's most likely to respond. So just different ways kind of give you behind the scenes of what a recruiter is doing to search for certain people. Now that you kind of understand recruiter and how a recruiter uses LinkedIn, let's talk about ways to make your profile better. When Jeff presented early on in the series, I had sent out on that, and he mentioned a recruiter looks at your resume for an average of 6 seconds, and darn that he got to share that statistic first, because what I usually like to do is I put a visual first thing in my presentation, where I put a resume up before you know what I'm doing. I put it on for 6 seconds, and then I just make the screen blank, and I say, tell me what you remembered about that resume. And most people hardly have had a chance to look at maybe even 1 or 2 things. And then I say, you saw that resume for 6 seconds, and that's how long a recruiter spends looking at it. The same thing can be said for your LinkedIn profile. I'm here to attest that statistic is 100% true. This next section I'm going to discuss will be what exactly to put your LinkedIn profile to maximize those 6 seconds your profile is being seen. First things first, you want to grow your network. You will most definitely get out of LinkedIn what you put into it. I have a picture right in the middle of my desk that has 3 words, hustle hard, girl. And it's just a reminder to myself that no one's going to build my network but me. So be your own advocate, get yourself out there, and you are going to be seen on LinkedIn. You could set a goal of how many relevant connections you think you will need to get noticed, to get interviews, or maybe an internship or messages from recruiter. I remember when I started recruiting, I had a number that I told myself is going to be a good number to support the kind of network I wanted to build. During my free time, when I was sitting and watching a TV show, I was going on every day and doing 25 to 30 connection requests a day until I got to that number. It did take me a while. It was an ambitious number, but once I got to that number, I had grown my network enough my network kind of just kept building on its own because I'd already gotten those people and they were kind of sharing things, and it's just kind of a snowball effect. So connect with recruiters, like we've said, follow companies. You can introduce yourself in groups and what you're looking for. I saw a young female engineer post that she was looking for an internship. I just happened to be on LinkedIn doing a company post and I saw it on my feed. I gave her information to my colleague who focuses on college recruiting, and they ended up discussing an internship opportunity. So LinkedIn really does have a camaraderie that people want to help you. They want to see you succeed, and all you need to do is go on there and be active. You can also share relevant content and add comments. This is so important because networking on LinkedIn has a snowball effect. If I comment on something of yours, now my network can see your post. And if you share one of my job postings, now your network can see my job posting. The more active you are, the more likely you're going to be seen and the more likely you're going to get connection requests. Again, keep saying this, everyone keeps saying this, follow companies and groups. We talked about following the importance of companies, but also follow engineering groups, maybe UTSA alumni groups, women in engineering groups, Introduce yourself on these groups. Say you're looking for an internship and you're looking to build your network, and people are going to start reaching out to connect. You can find those groups by simply searching engineering groups in the LinkedIn search bar, and you're going to see several. I just read a news article featuring a woman who had just gotten her job offer rescinded. She had made a post on LinkedIn, honestly, just discussing what had happened. She had received a job offer and it got rescinded due to a hiring freeze at Coinbase. She went on her LinkedIn profile and let her network know what happened, and people in her network started sharing it, and it just snowballed. So because once her network started sharing it, their network started sharing it as well. It got shared so many times. LinkedIn tracks posts getting a lot of attention, and then LinkedIn decided to do an article about it. And that's how I saw it. So now an article about her was on my LinkedIn feed when I go to my homepage at the top right, which when it features highlighted LinkedIn news. So think about this versus her having to go out and search all these jobs and go through the process of not only finding one she's interested in, but applying to all those positions. Instead, her LinkedIn network did the work for her. They shared her resume, and now recruiters were reaching out to her with jobs that she had specific experience for. And that is precisely why LinkedIn is so unique. You don't get that with Monster. You don't build a network on Indeed. LinkedIn is such a unique platform where it's really the only interactive job site, and I love it. So, and it's free. You can't beat it. But we just discussed some things that I find exciting about LinkedIn. Now, let me dive into something that is very frustrating for recruiters. Detailed project information is the #1 thing I see get missed on LinkedIn, and the #1 reason why I won't reach out to you. You would be blown away if you knew how many times this happens to me every day when I'm looking at LinkedIn profiles. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean, because I want you to utilize LinkedIn to your fullest potential. Let's move on to some examples of engineer profiles. Remember what I said, you can search engineers or whatever profession you're in and take things and see and help and build your own LinkedIn profile. This is what I did with these 2 engineer profiles. I just searched engineers and I found these 2. And let's take a look at these, because this is going to be very, very important. So if we read this person's experience, it's very general. I'm actually going to read it out loud. As a general superintendent, I work to manage and schedule all crews and subcontractors. I oversee equipment utilization, organize and manage resource and safety protocol. I oversee project planning, scheduling, and budget. This only gives a general description. I see this all the time on LinkedIn. You can have a full profile with a lot of words, but still not give specific information. Weber, like you see up here, Weber is a large company with different divisions. Is this person a general superintendent on industrial projects? Are they wastewater? Are they highway? I don't know with Weber what type of projects they've been doing. Also, there's no project information. So has this person worked on $500,000 projects, 50 million projects? It doesn't matter if you're in engineering or hospitality. List the size and scope. Tell me how many rooms the hotel you're working at is, how much square foot of meeting space it has. I know this is being recorded for other possible majors to watch. If you're going into IT, let the software list all the software you have experience with. If you do not list these type of things and other people do, I can guarantee you the people with the specific information will get a phone call first from a recruiter. And also finally, what type of superintendent were they with Weber? It says a general superintendent, but usually you kind of have a background of some type of specialty or something specific. Was this person more focused on dirt or structure? So let's take a look at a more detailed profile experience so you can kind of see a comparison as to what I really am looking for. This one is a general one. This person also is with Weber. I'm going to read out loud theirs. Worked in a $40 million signature bridge and roadway improvement in Irving, Texas. I supported the project engineer and project manager tracking quantities on a daily basis, cost control, and managing self-performed crews and subcontractors. So already they're telling me how much the project was that they worked for, what type of project it was. I now know that they have experience with self-performing crews. Their second project, they said they worked in a $120 million highway expansion project in Dallas. I supported the project engineer responsible for the structures team. The scope of work included the construction of 3 bridges. Also, I was responsible for managing the subcontractors in charge of MSE walls, flatworks, and special retaining walls. So I know by this person's description experience, again, how large the projects were. I might be recruiting for a project with bridges, and I need to find someone with bridge experience. I know this person has what I'm looking for. Sometimes we might have a project that has a lot of MSE walls. The person said they were in charge of that portion on a $120 million highway expansion project. This person is most definitely someone I'm going to reach out to. So make sure when you summarize the experience with companies, you're giving measurable results, not just a general description of the job that you want. What are your accomplishments? Did you finish ahead of schedule? Were you under budget? Did you implement a new type of software? In hospitality, did you serve banquets of 100 people or 1,000 people? If you're not specific with what experience is, unfortunately, most recruiters are going to click to the next person and they don't have the time to message you and ask you for your specifics. So out of the 2 resumes that I just showed you, which one do you think I spent more than 6 seconds on? Absolutely, it's the second one. The more I'm looking at the second one, the more interested I am in seeing what they've done and the more I'm reading. So if I have 200 engineers that have applied to a position and only 10% or 20 of those engineers have a profile like this one, that's still 20 engineers I'm interested in and I'm going to get a hold of. So guess what just happened to the other 180 engineers that have applied? I physically can't take the time to reach out to all of them and try to get their information. I need to see if I want to send them to the hiring manager. So recruiters are working on several projects at a time. Heck, I even work for more than one division of our company. So you can see why it's very, very important that that detailed information is on there. I remember I found a young engineer on LinkedIn. We didn't need him at the time, but I reached out to him and asked if he would be okay hearing some constructive criticism on his resume. He said, sure. So I went through his resume with him and found out that he had worked on a $100 million project as an engineer intern, and he didn't mention that on his resume. This is a huge project for an intern to be on a $100 million project. I told him, this is going to set you apart from any other interns, that are only doing a $500,000 project. So I went through step by step and told him some things to highlight. And I looked at him again on LinkedIn a month later. He had gotten a better position in a larger company just by adding the size of his projects. So if you have a LinkedIn profile like the one you're seeing now, there are hundreds of recruiters like myself where it's their job to go and find you. It was my job to do this even before the crazy job market. So a LinkedIn profile is very important. Again, you put some work into it by setting it up, but once you do that and do it correctly, we're going to take the work off of you and find a good candidate like you. I hope that makes you excited to have a resource like LinkedIn, even if you're content at a job. Let's say you go out and you are at a company for a year or two. I would suggest still keeping things current because you never know what might happen with your position and you never know who's looking at your LinkedIn profile to reach out for a potential better opportunity. Okay, remember LinkedIn is a professional site. As you are transitioning from student to professional, make sure you use it this way. As a reminder, your posts and replies can be seen by project managers, recruiters, HR professionals. Just a reminder, I can go to a profile and see what a candidate has been posting and what they have commented on. So just a little reminder about that. One thing I would like to say is to stay positive. I see interns on LinkedIn posting, staying positive, even putting their friends' information up to get more exposure for their friend. I'm watching these students because they know how to network. They know adversity and they're staying positive. And just remember, if you face rejection, you never know what's going on behind the scenes. One of my favorite quotes is Babe Ruth once said, "Every strike brings me closer to a home run." Get out there and put yourself out there. If you face rejection, good. It means you're trying, so keep at it. If you're nervous, good. It means you really care about a position in a company. Practicing speaking with recruiters at college fairs is going to get easier each time you do it. So get out there and keep doing it. Everyone's going to face a little rejection. You've heard other presenters say this as well. Stay positive. Know that everything's happening the way it should be. And it may not make sense, but it will eventually. And also just remember, rejection is just redirection. It's all it is. So if you were rejected for something, it just means you're putting yourself out there and trying, and circumstances just redirecting you to where you're supposed to be. So I want to stress something that I heard Jeff previously say when he presented. He said it's about enthusiasm. I can't stress this enough. If I'm phone screening a candidate and they sound like they just woke up or they just don't have any enthusiasm in their voice, within the first few seconds, I'm wondering about their energy level, how friendly they are with the team, what my hiring manager is going to think if I send someone over. At college career fairs, I get to speak with you about 10 minutes. I would love to be able to say that I know the ins and outs of engineering, but that's just not the case. So we can train students to be good engineers, know who your company is, have something specific and something you're passionate about in a previous internship or in your classes if you haven't had an internship yet. Try to relate to the company you're speaking with. I just want to tell you, one time I was speaking to a girl at a college fair. She was telling me about how she interned on a project, and she said, you know, as cheesy as this sounds, that she just loved standing near a tall steel structure and how it made her feel. She wanted to be a part of something that is going to be there for years. She said her passion was building bridges and that she wanted to be able to drive her family across. It was very genuine. And as soon as I returned to my office, I told the hiring manager, you have to talk to this girl. And not only did she intern for us, she was also hired right after her internship and is currently a field engineer on one of our North Texas projects. I just knew when I spoke with her, she was going to be a great fit. She set herself apart from the other students that were going through the same program, the same classes. So find what sets you apart and make sure you convey this to your LinkedIn profile, your cover letter, if you use one, your discussion with the recruiter. What will make a company remember you? Don't be afraid to go on LinkedIn. If you get connections, introduce yourself. Tell people you're looking for an internship. Tell a little bit about yourself. People are going to try to help. So remember, hustle hard. But I hope this helps you understand the power of LinkedIn and the importance of connecting with people. If you don't already have a LinkedIn profile, set some time on your calendar this week to build a profile or even to strengthen the profile that you had based on what you saw me show you that I'm searching for and how I'm searching on Recruiter. Do it before you get busy with your classes. Keep everything up to date. Once you're ready to seek employment, have your LinkedIn profile built correctly to where this is going to take some of the work off you and let corporate recruiters do their work for you. Once you get a LinkedIn profile, feel free to connect with me as a starting point or search companies you're interested in and the word recruiter to get together in LinkedIn search bar. Connect with recruiters, introduce yourself in a message, say if you're seeking a college internship or if you're seeking an entry-level full-time position. And when I get a connection request on LinkedIn, I always look at the profile of the person making the connection request. So if a recruiter posts a position and you're interested, send a message and say, I'm connected with you on LinkedIn. I saw you have an entry-level field engineer position for a highway project in San Antonio. I want to let you know that I'm very interested in the position and I'm attaching my resume. I would love to be considered for the position. Please let me know if there's any other information you need from me. So search engineers, clicked on their LinkedIn profiles and see what groups the engineers are part of. Join those groups, network. There's so much potential of networking on LinkedIn versus going on Indeed and just applying for a job. One piece of advice I want to give, if you have a company reach out and say they're moving forward with another candidate, always say, thank you for the update. I really enjoyed my interview with so-and-so, and I would like to still be considered for any future opportunities for your company. Always be considerate because there could be very well another opportunity opening up within a few weeks for something your experience matches, and you never know what's going on behind the scenes, just like with the 4 most recent hires that I had. So this sums up my presentation today. I hope you got a lot of valuable information about LinkedIn today. And before I return it back to Ruben, are there any questions that you may have?
Hello, I have a question.
Yes.
How do you go about like unrelated experience, like unrelated jobs? Like I'm looking for an internship in engineering, and previously I just had military experience and just insurance experience. It's really unrelated to engineering. So would that, is there any benefit of putting that in there or being descriptive about it, or is it just better to focus on engineering projects you've done?
That is a great question. One thing that I will say, if a lot of times through our college recruiting, we'll have a project manager or a project engineer, someone with us. One of the most important things that they're looking for with experience is if you worked outside before. So if you have military experience, that is absolutely something that you should show. Obviously, with military experience, you can talk about teamwork. You can talk about working outside in the elements. There's absolutely relate anything that you think working outdoors, working out in the field, working as a group, working with a team. Yes, that is something that you want to definitely include. I will say if you're going into engineering and you have 5 things that aren't pertinent to engineering, I would suggest you adding the ones that pertain to working outside, because that's something that they're going to be looking for. Great question.
Thank you.
Any other questions at this time about LinkedIn or anything else?
Yes, ma'am, I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm a freshman and I'm just barely starting in my career journey. I was just wondering, how would I build my LinkedIn profile just for in the future, maybe if I wanted to get an internship with actually no real experience in the field?
Yeah, great question. What I would focus on there then is I would focus on, maybe any type of awards you won in high school or any kind of programs that you were in high school. And as you said you're a freshman, as you start taking your classes, those classes are things that you can mention on your LinkedIn profile. You might say that you took an estimating class, and in that estimating class, you were instructed on Bluebeam and how to use it. If you do use Bluebeam in your estimating class when you do a project, absolutely include any type of project that you're doing. It can be even a simulation. We have interns that, do drone things so that they're actually, like we just had a post the other day on our LinkedIn about how our interns had built the inside of our building. So no, they weren't actually out doing, something out in the field, but they were still doing things that were pertaining to that. So any kind of classwork that you do, any kind of coursework, I would definitely include that. If you can get a recommendation from a professor, that is something absolutely that you want to try to do. You might be tutoring other students. You might, take a little side gig of, you might be, in women, a STEM class or, women in engineering, any type of groups that you're joining as a freshman or what you're doing in your college, include those groups as well. They're going to let, it's going to let a recruiter know, yep, they're a student, but look, they've got all these extracurricular activities going on. They're women in STEMs, and they're in, a Hispanic group, or, whatever that you are doing in your coursework, you can absolutely include that on your LinkedIn profile. And like I said, if you can get those recommendations from anyone, definitely get those. If you maybe just are doing some type of student work, that you have someone that you can get a recommendation from, even in that aspect, get those recommendations and you can put those on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Yeah, I had a quick question. I wanted to see what your perspective on the profile picture and the, I guess, cover photo for the actual profile that's at the top. Your suggestions on like an appropriate picture, or what you tend to maybe stray away from if you see a particular look or picture, anything like that, in terms of maybe an unprofessional one?
Right, good question. I would say, you definitely want to have it doesn't have to be a professional photographer anyway, but even like the wall that I have behind me, I have blank. If you have a friend or someone that can take a picture head and shoulders for sure, a nice shirt, you want to have a plain background if possible, and just a genuine smile, or just a full on kind of like I would say head and shoulders above, nice shirt, plain background. It doesn't have to be anything super fancy, but even on the iPhones now, you can do a little bit of editing on that as well. I think that would be definitely sufficient. If you can get a professional photo, that's fantastic, but I don't think that you need one. Did that answer?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. You're welcome. Any other questions? Is there anything in the chat that I need to answer?
Nothing's come through on the chat yet, but
Y'all
yeah,
does now. I can't see. I don't see what you're seeing. Sorry.
but yeah, we've got a little more time for questions in case people have.
I know that was a lot of information, but definitely, I mean, I know, maybe at this stage you don't really understand the power of LinkedIn, but it is a very, very powerful tool. I hope that even, as a freshman, if you're just, getting on there and just practicing with it and seeing how it works and maybe making some connection requests now. You don't have to reach out to anyone specifically now. You can just start making connection requests. If that's something that you want to do, just kind of build your network. You might even see if your professors are on there. If you meet other engineers and groups, ask them if they have a LinkedIn and connect with them as well. I'm sorry.
Hello.
Yes.
I have a question.
Sure.
So in listing the skills and the trainings and certifications, how much is too much?
Well, I honestly would say if you have it listed, because like I showed you with all the searches, you might have a recruiter out there that is searching by a specific certification. So my advice would be to put what you can on there. You don't have to put it at the top where you're listing several different things. Put your experience at the top, obviously most current first, do a summary of your experience, and then way down at the bottom, you can start to list certifications and things of that nature so that a recruiter doesn't want to wade through all that. But if we're searching for it and we're searching for a certain certification, definitely you want to put that on there if you do have it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I really enjoyed seeing the kind of the recruiter
Yes.
view and like how you all spend.
I love sharing
those-
it because
yeah.
most people don't have any idea of how it all works behind the scenes. So I absolutely love sharing that to students. It's just something that most people don't get to see. So it's fun.
Yeah, I have a lot of recruiter friends, so I'd seen some of that before, but not as in depth and just like what it looks like on you all's end. So that's really helpful. That's cool. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
We've got maybe another minute or two. I just want to check and see if anybody else has any additional questions before we.
I have a question. I came in a little bit late, honestly. So I know that you talked about the Learn LinkedIn course. How do you get to that? Because I'm on LinkedIn now, and I was just I couldn't find it, so I was just wondering if maybe I missed that, or if there's a special link that we need to access.
No, there should be. Ruben, do you know offhand with the LinkedIn Learning how honestly, the way that I got that screenshot to you guys is I had just Googled how to set up a LinkedIn account. And if you just Google it, it's going to show you LinkedIn Learning and you can get to it from that way. On LinkedIn, though, I don't know off the top of my head. Ruben, do you know?
Yes, and I'm about to put a link in the chat. So through the UTSA Career Center, you all have access to LinkedIn Learning for free.
Awesome.
So you can go in and log in with your UTSA credentials and kind of start building out like what you're looking to develop skills on. And then that resource page, I posted links to a couple different things on there throughout the series this summer, but there's a ton of resources on the UTSA Career Center page to help with like a variety of things related to job searching. But yeah, you can access LinkedIn Learning there through the UTSA site that way.
Okay, I see it. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's all free. It's a wonderful, wonderful catalog of videos and anything that you need answered. It's a wonderful support system that LinkedIn has already built for everyone.
I have one more question.
Sure.
So it's a nice talk, and you basically focused on to-dos, right? What are some obvious not to-dos on LinkedIn?
I didn't hear that first part. I know something about what not to do on LinkedIn.
Yes, something not to do on LinkedIn.
Okay. Again, I would say that what not to do would do the general descriptions, be very specific in the experience that you have. Another what not to do, in my personal opinion, is to make sure that it stays professional. You know, it's starting to get a little bit more Facebook as far as political views. My personal opinion is to stay away from that. You want to keep things professional. You want to pretty much only post what you are comfortable with a HR person seeing. I can go in when I search a candidate and I can look at your profile and I can click, I don't remember the exact words, but I can see anything that you've posted, anything that you've commented on, I can see that. So can the project managers. That is definitely a what to do, is to keep LinkedIn professional.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That just about brings us to our time. So we're gonna stop here. This was recorded, so everybody who's logged in will get a link to the recording a little bit later on, as well as a brief survey. So I want to again thank Nikki so much for this. Was great. This was really, really well done, and I learned a lot. I know the students learned a lot, so really appreciate having this as a resource. And yeah, we've got one more session in the series coming up next week. So looking forward to seeing everyone there. And yeah, thanks so much for your attendance throughout the whole series. I've seen quite a few of you at pretty much all of them, so thank you all so much. And yeah, thanks again, Nikki. This was great.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody have a great rest of your day. Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you very much.